Welcome to Mike Drops Up Close. We speak to entrepreneurs and thought leaders from all around the globe. Tune in and hit subscribe. Stay informed with inspiring stories from our amazing guests. We get up close and personal, covering subjects from business, marketing, and mindset. Hosted by Michael Kalisperis, a successful digital marketer and property investor.
Welcome everybody, welcome to Mike Drops Up Close. We've got a fantastic entrepreneur called Mark Wade. I'm going to say Dr. Mark Wade. He is unbelievable. I mean, I'll explain his whole life story in a sec, but we'll give a short bio. Dr. Mark T. Wade went from brick to mortar to multi-million-dollar online business using a strategy called One Day Summit. Having created several 6-7-figure businesses in the brick and mortar online education system, but he's literally got a top-rated SAS company called Virtual Summits Software. Dr. Mark helps entrepreneurs scale their side hustle with proven strategies such as the One Day Summit formula. He knows a few people that I know that are massively smashing it as well, and he's got a really wide background. I mean, you've travelled a lot as well, haven't you, Mark? I mean, I did a bit of research on you, and I can't believe how many states have you been? You've like practically the whole of America, which is crazy, as well as the world. So I mean,
yeah, I think it was 40 of the 50 states and something like 38 different countries.
It's crazy. I mean, so welcome. Thank you for coming to Mike Drops, and I really appreciate it. Davin obviously spoke highly of you. He said would be a perfect fit, actually looking into what you're about, I can see exactly what he's on about, to be fair. You've got a really great, varied background, and I'd love you to explain to my audience and let everyone know how you started in your career, what you were doing before, where you are now. Just give us a background of what you're doing and how this all came about.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. And hello, everybody listening in. This is exciting to be here with you. I'm happy to be connecting with everybody. Connecting and networking is actually one of my superpowers. So if you ever see me or find a way to connect with me, please do. I love meeting new, awesome, inspiring people like yourself, Michael.
Thank you.
So my journey actually, which is an interesting one, we'll keep it short because otherwise we could turn this into a docu-series. The shortened version of it is I originally started off in the healthcare field. I have 2 doctorates, a clinical doctorate and an academic doctorate, and I have approximately 40-something certifications in neurology, posture, ergonomics, and human function. So I originally started in a brick and mortar business. I had a clinic, and that clinic, it just like everything struggled at the beginning, but it eventually became one of the most successful posture correction clinics in the country.
Wow.
I worked with 5 professional sports teams. We implemented a posture program into the public health system, into the school system. Worked with over 100 different local, corporate, and small businesses. So we had a lot of success there. But I wanted to help more people. I served in the military as well, so I served overseas in Iraq. And ever from that point forward, I've been dedicated to leaving a legacy, an impactful, positive legacy. So essentially, I knew I wanted to help more people, and although we were helping thousands and thousands of people, I was limited by the walls of my clinic. So I was like, well, what's this online thing, right? It can't be too hard. Well, obviously, they don't teach you that in med school, but, I ventured out in there, and within a reasonable amount of time, we grew pretty successful. Matter of fact, we became a multi-million-dollar business. That company is called the American Posture Institute, and it's the leader. It's the world's largest resource for online posture education. And so that company did very well. We built that company off of multiple just different things, just like all businesses. But there was one strategy that we used continuously, and we went back to over and over, and it was this one-day summit kind of strategy. And back then I didn't have it named anything. It was just this thing we kept doing that continued to work and build the business and connect us with other influencers and grow our list and make money and all that stuff. So eventually we had people going, how are you doing this? Like within a few years, you guys have become an industry standard. You're leading, the healthcare professions in this sense. And so I started helping people with that. And additionally, I was doing these all the time. And back in the day, I had to hand build everything, which back then took like 7 different softwares and 26 plugins, and still looked like a 13-year-old built it, right? They also
I know I've been there. The pain, yeah.
They obviously don't teach those skills in med school either. But the point is, I eventually said, you know what, these are too powerful, too beneficial to stop doing. But I have a team of 5 people working for me full time just to keep these things going, because we were running them very regularly. So finally I said, I'm just going to invest into a software. And then I built a software which is called Virtual Summit Software, which is the only software specifically designed for hosting summits, online summits. And that became a success as well. And then essentially from there is where Hustle and Scale was born, which is my personal brand where I help entrepreneurs scale their businesses.
I love it, because like I said, the irony is when I was speaking to Davin, we both were talking about initially the issues I've had, and I've had the same thing with you with like live working these live systems and that, and how they can fail you. Which is why initially what I want to do is, because I'm building this channel up, I'm initially just recording it and then posting it, when I should really be doing both the live and all kind of. And I'm just so nervous about it with like quality, interviewees like yourself. I just want to just do it this old-fashioned way until I get more comfortable, get a few under my belt, and then we'll gamble a little bit more. But then it's quite funny that we had the same conversation with Davin, and he mentioned about your webinar software, which I thought was absolutely sounds awesome. I mean, could you explain a little bit more about that software? I'm sure other people have gone through we talked about the same sort of thing with Skype not being reliable and so on, and so
absolutely, yeah. So, well, actually, I'm glad you asked so I can clarify this. So it's called Virtual Summit Software, and what it specifically does, we do one thing. We have one UEP, like a UEP is what I call a unique expert position, and that's virtual summits. So I specialize in a strategy called the one-day summit formula, which essentially it takes a traditional summit, which is anywhere from 3 to 7 days. These are all virtual online events that I'm talking about too. 3 to 7 days, 30 to 80 speakers, that's a traditional summit. It could take you 6 to 9 months to prepare. And those are, easy. I mean, I run those all the time as well.
Yeah.
But those are a beast of to put on, and especially if you're like a side hustler, somebody just getting started.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit too overwhelming to kind of jump into that. But with the one-day summit formula, it's super simple. It's 1 day. It's 10 speakers, and essentially it can be up and ready to run in under 30 days.
Yeah.
Now, the only way that's possible is because of the Virtual Summit software.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, I mean, I remember the very first summit I created, it took me approximately 100 hours to build it myself. It took me 3 months just to build the platform out to host this thing.
Yeah.
And then later on, I started paying other people to build them for me once our businesses became more and more successful. But then I was paying like $10,000 to $15,000 just for somebody to build out a platform.
Yeah.
So with the Virtual Summit software, what it does specifically, it allows you to host a one-day summit or a traditional summit in under 30 minutes. Like, wow. It's mind-blowing. Like when I have strategy sessions with people all the time on this software, and when I tell it, like, they're like, man, why are you smiling? Like, why are you so happy? I'm like, well, you just don't know what it used to be.
Yeah,
definitely. You don't know how much time, energy, and money used to go into it. And now with, a few clicks of a button, you can have an entire one-day summit or traditional summit ready to rock and roll. And for any of the audiences listening, because I know this could be a foreign concept to some, but just to kind of explain what it is, essentially the power of a summit, specifically a one-day summit, is it allows you to massively build your list. So it's an online entrepreneur's proven formula to quickly grow your list, launch a platform or a product, and make more money, even if you're just getting started, because it allows you to connect with influencers, it allows you to solve a problem, and allows you to connect with your audience, which honestly, between you and me, that's something that's kind of going, like, we're losing touch with that. A lot of us are focused on funnels. Got to build a funnel. Got to build a funnel. Gotta
Totally,
build a funnel.
completely agree. It's gotten crazy. It really is. I mean, I build funnels. You know, I've used many different types of software out there. Some shout louder than others. Some are really awesome. But the reality is that ultimately it is a tool, and you've got to have a product. You got to have a service, and you got to connect with your what I would call subject, whether they're a prospect or whether it's someone, a business, whatever. But the reality is you've got to connect, and you are absolutely spot on. I've seen it. People are just pushing their abilities, and that's it. You know, there's a lot more to it, and a lot of people are struggling. They are struggling, and I totally agree, completely agree.
Well, and just to go forward with that, so what I was saying is, like, we're focusing on funnels, and because it's easier to focus on that, we go, oh, well, this funnel didn't work, so I'm going to build another funnel.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I got to change this color versus that color to increase the conversions,
Yeah.
which I'm not against funnels, although a funnel is just a generic term that actually means something different to everybody.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that over top of the funnels are technically a way that you process your online business. And for people that are in the brick and mortar business, your funnel doesn't stop with the online business. It transfers over to whoever your assistants are that process your appointments and things like that.
Yeah.
But what we're losing, like what we're really struggling with right now, and I think it's causing a lot of problems. Like I openly say we're in a kind of an online business or a Facebook recession. It's becoming more and more difficult for people to get the same kind of success that they could get a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the problems are we are all able to put out all of these platforms, these funnels, this content, but what most of us are missing the mark on slightly is actually solving people's problem. Like there's three things that I think you need to have a successful online business. You need to, number one, solve a problem. You need to build a platform, and then you need to connect with your audience. If you do those three things and you focus on those three things, it doesn't really matter how beautiful your funnel is or what color or how, if you're connecting and solving a problem, I promise you, your business is going to succeed and excel.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, there's psychology, but I mean, lots of people have done lots of tests on these things, and sometimes the more pretty these things look, the less they convert. And so, the amount of time people are spending in these things, when really just a pop up with the name and the bloody nice clear button is all you need. But again, there's a balancing act depending on what you're targeting, and there's other arguments to that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I love what you've created, and it sounds absolutely awesome. I'm definitely going to check it out, by the way. But I also love the idea of this, like, this business that you've set up, and it's like it's grown. Like, I mean, obviously you did it for your previous business that you still got, but I'm not talking about the. I'm talking more about the hustle and scale business. That one there, I can tell, is a bit like me with the marketing. It's something you actually love. Is more of your passion, maybe? Is that right to say? Would that be fair?
Well, yeah, and this is interesting. A little bit earlier today, I was on another interview, and we were talking about gratitude. And stick with me because I'll pull this full circle here.
Yeah.
But what we got into in that interview is I was talking about a period of time, like a dark period, right? Like where I was kind of down. I was very unhappy, and the crazy thing about it is I had everything. My business was as successful as it had ever been. I had more money than I could spend. I could buy whatever I wanted. I could travel wherever I wanted. I had influencers, people that I looked up to as my mentors, contacting me for help, things like that. It's like it was everything that I had kind of had as a hope or a goal to eventually accomplish.
Yeah.
I had accomplished.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is you hear about this with Olympians when they, not to compare myself to an Olympian by any means.
I can't either, don't worry.
But the fact is, after they win a gold medal, they go through this period, this down period, this of depression or whatever. And we see it very commonly, and this is more of on a serious topic, we see it very commonly in high-level CEOs, athletes. You even hear about it suicides and people who just won the lottery and things like that. And I think what it comes down to, it was in my situation, is after you accomplish all the things that you wanted to accomplish, just doing more of it doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
And I had essentially done the things that I thought I would spend my entire life working on to accomplish.
Yeah.
I had done those within a couple years. So I essentially lost my purpose. I lost like what was meaning. Why am I waking up in the morning? Because me personally, like, I like having money. I like having things like that, but I don't want to just make more money. That doesn't get me out of bed to just make more money. So essentially what really, like, where Hustle and Scale came from is, like, I was helping people do this all the time anyways. Like, I run several masterminds. I'm a part of multiple 7- and 8-figure masterminds, and people were already asking. I was helping them. I was teaching them. So I just used this as an opportunity to let more people know that, hey, I'm willing to help you in these areas as well. And that's actually given me just as much, if not more, purpose and meaning than, you know, my first companies, because I actually run like 4 or 5 different companies at this point. But this lets me get back to the one-on-one with people and help them. And by seeing their success and their accomplishments, like, that gives me satisfaction.
I completely can resonate massively with that. And it's probably why Davin thought it would be a good match, because actually it's the same for me. The reality is that, as I explained before our interview, my life changed massively when my son was made, and I'm not going to dwell on it because I don't want it to be my foundation of my growth, if you know what I mean. My son was made disabled, born healthy, left severely disabled, and it's turned our lives upside down, which made me go on the entrepreneurial road, and, you know, seek different wealth systems, you know, so property, marketing, and so on. And I had exactly the same thing where, you know, where I don't feel I'm fully where I want to be, if I'm being honest with you. I know that the gratitude's really important, and I also know it's very, very easy to get to a stage where you feel, what else? What next? And you almost feel not empty, not hollow, but yeah, what's next? What else? And I can totally resonate with that, and I can really resonate because I actually help a lot of people off my own back on coaching calls and so on, free. And I've realised I've come full circle when I did that a lot, and then I realised actually I want to spend time with my son who's severely disabled, and I need to start monetizing it because my time is really, really it's valuable. It's very valuable. So there's nothing wrong, and it took me a long time to get there. There's nothing wrong with giving good value and charging for it at a fair price. So I've taken a long time to get to that stage. But it's about giving, you know, it's like leaving a legacy for my family and friends and people that we can put out there. And I could really, really, really relate with you on that, because I think it's very easy to feel guilty helping, and then going from helping to actually, you know what, my time's really important. I've got to spend time with my son, you know, or do I help you and this is a business and it makes sense? Because it can really drain you sometimes. Giving so much free. It did for me anyway. And I think you can do that, but there's a balance, isn't there? Would you agree with that, Mark? I mean,
well, there's absolutely a balance. So, like, one of the things that kind of helped me during that period was getting back in touch with gratitude, actually, and purpose. Doing more to help other people. Like, we have a non-for-profit as well that really gives back. I'm an ex-vet. You know, I served in the war, and so, like, helping and focusing on helping veterans really means a lot to me. But one of the things I would say also for your audience, because I know you have a wide range of people and wide range of successes. So whether you're a side hustler, a 6-figure scaler, or a 7-figure scaler, which is what I call it, it's where the hustle and scale actually came from. Side hustler all the way to 7-figure scalers, is to remember this: revel in the moment. Celebrate your wins and enjoy what you have.
Absolutely.
No matter where you're at on that journey, if every day you remember that, you'll be happy with whatever you have. It's not to say you're not going to push for more growth, because we're all created to just naturally push for more growth. But at least you'll be happy, and you're not going to miss out on the moments throughout that journey, which will keep you happy. And it's especially important for those of you who are nearing those kind of milestone-like successes. very, very much so to look back at where you've come and appreciate that moment and celebrate those wins, so you don't lose track of that purpose or that meaning, which can then actually, create more problems. Like, I lost a multi-million-dollar business almost overnight for that exact reason. I lost sight of where I was going, and was, because I had lost my purpose.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. And I think it's really good advice, that. I mean, I think we all live and learn, and whatever we're doing in our journeys, it's all growth in one way. And a lot of people have found they've gotten there after failure. Actually, most entrepreneurs, actually, if you look at all the top entrepreneurs, there's a story there of massive loss or dyslexia. I've got dyslexia as well. There's always something. There's a story there behind most of them, and it's never been smooth. It's never been a straightforward, bang, you can just crack on and, you're suddenly 7-8 figures, entrepreneur. It just doesn't work that way. And a lot of people that might watch from the outset, might feel, oh, they've got it easy, or they're not really doing much. But I think you could actually vouch, there's work to be done. Even when you've got to a certain level, work still needs to be done. On speaking on that, you actually, you not just do this, you do speaking gigs as well, don't you? So you, because I had read a few reviews about how awesome you are at speaking, and I saw your photos, and I swear to God, honestly, I want to hang out with you, man. You're just like a party animal, for goodness sake. It's just that your photos look awesome. You look like you're obviously down to earth. You can have a laugh, and I love that, because there's one thing that I can't stand, if I'm being honest with you, and that is it's the arrogance and ignorance and that kind of thing. And I think we can all be somewhere, get somewhere in life, but also stay humble to some degree. I'm not saying be humble to the point that you lose your strength, but I think it's really important to stay and connect with people on every level, doesn't matter what what stage they're at, because we've all been there to some degree. And I think, looking at what you do, your photos, just, it says a lot in a photo, and I've seen quite a few of yours, and you obviously enjoy partying as well.
Yeah, well, I try not to take myself too seriously. I try and, again, revel in the moment and have fun.
Yeah.
One of my kind of superpowers, one of my strengths, which I never actually recognized until probably a few years ago, and it was just because everybody kept bringing it up, is connecting, is networking, building relationships. And actually, I just did something on this recently, which I think may be of value to your audience, because I get that question a lot. Like, it's not anything I sell or a platform or anything like
it's
that.
You.
People are always coming up like, how do you do this? And this what I'm about to say, it started because somebody that I had no idea who the person was. He follows me on Instagram. Sent me a direct message.
Yeah.
And he was like, Mark, I know you're busy, but it's amazing your ability to connect. Like, he sees me with people like Russell Brunson. I had dinner with Russell Brunson a few nights ago. And one of my best friends, John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire.
Wow.
So he was, how, if you could give me one tip on how to how to network and build quality relationships like you do. And so I actually thought about it, because I hadn't had anybody specifically ask, like, give me one tip.
Yeah.
And then what I actually came up with was 3 tips. And the first one is, I recommend reading the book Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff.
Right.
It's one of my favorite books. It's very impactful. Of course, it's directed more towards, like, if you're in sales or if you're trying to win a deal, things like that. But I believe it says a lot about the human psychology and how to understand and interact, especially with powerful or influential people. So if we're talking right now, you're probably talking to people that are like, I'd like to influence with people a little bit further along than me, a little bit higher up. I want to make relationships with them. So that book is very, very powerful on understanding the mindset and frames in order to be able to position yourself with them to have those conversations. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, I said, talk about hobbies and passions. Never talk about business. Reason being, as soon as you start talking about business, you put yourself in the now you put yourself in the teacher-student position.
Yes, very good point.
Teacher-student relationship. Like the influencers, they love to talk about business.
Yeah.
It's not boring to them. I'll talk about business, but as soon as you put us into that position, I'm now teaching you. You're now the student. We're no longer equals.
Absolutely,
okay?
yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative manner.
No,
I'm
it's
just
true.
saying,
It's psychological, yeah.
Psychological. But what do we all like to do? We all like to talk. I mean, we're passionate about business too, which is why we all like to talk about it. But we all have other hobbies and other passions. And if you can find something where you connect on a hobby or passion, like me, I love scuba diving. I love traveling. If you talk to me and get me started on those, I'm now looking at you as a warm connection. I'm looking at you as a friend or a relationship because we're connecting on something. So that was number 2. Number 3 was to always position yourself and act, so even mentally, and act as an equal, whether the person is above you or below you. So what I mean by that is you can't run up to somebody, and if the first thing you do is like, hey, will you sign my book, or can I take a picture with you? You're not an equal, right? Like I don't, when I'm hanging out with, Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, I'm not going, hey, Pat, can we quickly take a picture? I am, of course, going to have pictures with them, but you need to establish a relationship first. And then the last aspect of that would be, it's like I said, above and below you, because people see everything. We all see everything. And I firmly believe how you treat anyone is how you treat everyone.
Absolutely.
So, if you can be kind in connecting with people below you, and it's not to say you overpass or you don't have goals and targets to network with people above you as well, but if you can do that with people below you, you'll be able to easily do it with people above you.
Absolutely spot on, and you're speaking from my heart, literally saying all that, because it's spot on. I mean, the reason why I wanted to set up Mic Drops is number one, obviously speak to people who've gone on the journey to educate people of what they've gone through, but number 2, to connect. So your connection is another simile that I have and I love, and people say to me, so how did you get Davin on there, how did you get yourself on there, and so on. And I think the reality is if you connect with people on a human level and not be, like as you explained, too what's the word, I could sum it up as almost mechanical. Then I think the truth is that people see through that and they can see a great human being, which is what it's about. We're all here. We only live a certain life span. We're not here forever. I've seen people come and go, and you obviously have as well. And it's not nice. And even my son, born totally healthy, and to be left blind, deaf with spastic cerebral palsy, just have his taste and there's not much that he's got left, but he's still an amazing human being. And when I look into his eyes, I can read what he's telling me. I can really connect with him, and we communicate, even though people on the outside can't see that. And I think there's an element of that when you're dealing with people on different levels, like say people that are above you. There's a connection there that you either get or you don't. And so, you'll either say, I don't like that guy within you, and then you won't be able to put your finger on it sometimes. You just know. And obviously, in the intro, when we chatted before, I instantly knew Davin was spot on. There's a good connection there, because you got a lot of similarities to what my purpose is. Even though we've travelled very different paths, there's a thing there of like wanting to help. And people sometimes say, oh, they always use that, it's like, I want to give back, but there's truth in it. There's always an element of you don't feel fulfilled unless you can get that. I mean, I've got my book here, I'm going to plug it. There's my son, My Little Spartan, and it's called Embrace the Struggle, Find Your Strength, and it is about finding the inner strength, because we've all got an inner Spartan within us. And again, I truly believe no matter what happens in life, whether you're on your entrepreneur journey, we're going to have ups and downs. I mean, I've got an issue with the property thing at the minute. I know I've got to get through it. One way I've got to get through it. And I know other people will have similar situations as well within their business. And, I'm sure, like you said, you had a business where you lost millions, and you're still here making millions, and connecting with amazing people like Russell Brunson. And you created an amazing set of businesses. It's brilliant. And it's a testament to you as a person, not just your skill. It's just your human side, which inspires me, which is what Mike Drops Up Close is about. It's about getting up close. There's the reason for that title, and it's been a pleasure, honestly, having you on board, talking to us today. Davin Michaels was spot on. You were a brilliant interview, and I always ask people at the end, who would you think would be a fantastic fit? They've got to obviously have heart, be a great entrepreneur. They'll be a great fit for Mike Drops Up Close. If you want to let people know now or throw it in a message later on, that's absolutely cool. But if you want to share that on, that'd be great, so we can keep the momentum going on this channel as it's starting. But I just want to welcome you to my audience. Thank you ever so much for your time. I really want to check out, if you want to throw me the link to your software, and we'll put it in the links to everyone else as well, because I think it's absolutely, I know exactly what you're on about, the time aspect on this. What's more valuable than time? That sounds perfect for people growing their businesses, and I think that's invaluable. I just want to mention quickly as well, a mutual friend or circles, Shah Wasmond as well. So I'm going to give her a shout out because we mentioned her before in our previous conversation. So you obviously know Shah quite well, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, Shaw's a good friend of mine. That was actually going to be one of the people that I was going to say to connect with and recommend is definitely Shah Wasmond. She's there local for you guys as well. Another local over there across the pond from me anyways is going to be Philip Gibbs. He's an absolute amazing person, good friend of mine, has helped me. He's helped me. He specializes in kind of like affiliate management and marketing and things like that. Helped me on my first, not my first, but my first almost 7-figure launch. So we did $850,000 on that launch. He was a crucial key to that. Philip Gibbs, and he's also just one of the best people in the world. And then, of course, Shah Wasmond was actually my very, very first business coach in the online space. And we've become very good friends since then. She's actually coming to visit me over in Puerto Rico next year, which is where I'm currently located at. And then to just kind of round this out as well, I'd like to say thanks everyone for listening. Again, I love connecting, so I would love for you to come say hi to me over on my Facebook at Hustle and Scale. On Instagram, if you want to follow me on my travels or adventures, or send me a direct message to connect over on Hustle and Scale. And then for any of you that were interested in that strategy, that technique I used to build my multi-million-dollar business called the One Day Summit Formula, I'd be happy to give your audience, because you guys are so cool and I'm really enjoying this here, free access to my
Wow.
One Day Summit course. So
That's amazing.
Of course, you'll have the links in the show notes, but you can go to hustleandscale.com/free course, and I'll give that away for them to jump in there, because my goal, my mission with Hustle and Scale is to help 5,000 entrepreneurs get to that next level, to scale their business. So hopefully through this audio, through this podcast, through this video, that we've been able to inspire, motivate, and hopefully kind of urge some of them to take that next step on their journey.
Absolutely. I really welcome that. Thank you ever so much. That's very, very kind of you. You have been ever so generous with your time. I know you're extremely busy as well. Obviously, meeting Russell Brunson and people like that, amazing. And I just want to say, from the deepest part of my heart, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it, and I will reach out to them, to Shah and Philip, and see if they fancy coming on the show as well. So thank you for the recommendation there. Really appreciate that. But let's stay in contact. Great to have met you. And if you're ever in the UK again, which I'm sure you're going to be at some point, drop me a line, man. We'll hook up, definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody listening.
Thank you. You take care, buddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed listening, then please subscribe to The Mike Drop Show and connect with Michael on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.